The United States Football League is back, and they just might be the best dressed football league. With the new era comes new football uniforms, and for the most part, the USFL nailed these designs. I expected that these were going to be terrible, but now I think they might have some of the best uniforms in football. And with that, let's start it off with my favorite uniform of the bunch, the Michigan Panthers. If the Michigan Panthers were in the NFL, they'd have a top 10 uniform. Everything about this uniform is perfect. They did a great job of modernizing the classic from the 80s. The helmet retains the iconic helmet logo, and even with the slight adjustment to the colors, this uniform is perfect. I love the unique color scheme and love how the blue is used throughout. Definitely one of my favorite football uniforms, and the best in this league. Next, we have arguably the worst uniform of this new era, the Houston Gamblers. Now, I'm a big fan of their logo and previous uniforms. They always remind me of the 90s Falcons, and I'm surprised they didn't just modernize the 80s Threads. The biggest issue with these new uniforms is the side panels and the forced dark gray color. I don't know why they decided to add this new gray, but it just doesn't work. They're definitely the worst uniform of the bunch. Back to a positive note, the Generals look exactly how they should. A classic and clean uniform. I'm glad they didn't try to force any gimmicks and instead went with a classy approach. I love the use of navy trim and the stars on the shoulders. A simple design will always be a good look. Now for the Bandits. They look pretty great too, for the most part. I'm not a huge fan of the side panels, and the drop shadow could be a little more pronounced, but other than that, a solid uniform. I'm a big fan of focusing more on the red and black rather than the previous unis that were too reminiscent of Ohio State. You can't go wrong with red, black, and silver. The stars too have a decent look. The colors are awesome, and I'm a big fan of the number font. The yellow really pops in this design. However, the side panels again just don't look great on any football uniform. And for some reason they brought back the toilet seat collar. Not a big fan of the logo on the chest either. I do like how the stripe on the helmet and pants play into the new logo though, and gives it a unique touch. All in all, a solid looking uniform. On to the Stallions. They too have a decent uniform. I'm not too big on the logo, it looks a little amateur for a professional league, but it could be worse. I really like the Northwestern stripe design and wish it was carried over to the helmet and pants too. Speaking of pants, I think the gold pants are a better option rather than the white. But the white is good for mixing and matching every once in a while. Nothing too crazy, but I appreciate how cohesive this uniform is. The Maulers, on the other hand, could use a little tweaks. The 80s design was so much better in my opinion. The old stripes were great, and I think the colors were balanced better too. I don't hate the orange yoke, but the lack of orange on the pants makes it stick out. They should have also went with gray pants too. Without them, the face mask sticks out a little too much as well. Again, not a bad uniform, but it could be better. On a side note, I also wish they used their alternate logo on the jersey instead of repeating their helmet logo. And with that, we have our final uniform from the New Orleans Breakers. First off, I love the pants stripes and how they use all the colors in it tie into the rest of the set without going too crazy. The simplified helmet logo looks really good and is decent on the sleeves too. I'm a little disappointed that light blue isn't the primary color, but royal isn't a bad option either. All in all, I'd say the USFL looks amazing uniform-wise. No crazy gimmick-riddled uniform messes, and no monochrome to be seen. It's a dream come true. There may be a little too much red throughout the league, but they all look great. I'm really excited to see these out on the field, and I hope they can be successful enough to bring back even more classic USFL teams. This is definitely one of the best dressed football leagues.